I was just thinking, how many days do we have left of the reprieve from the TikTok ban? I mean, supposedly. No one's talking about it, so it doesn't seem like TikTok's going anywhere. That it was all just a stunt to promote Krasnov. But we supposedly had 90 days, and maybe half of those are gone by now, or a month or something. Just wondering what the countdown is at, how many days we're supposed to have. And that made me suspicious that since it did turn out to be just a big promotion for Krasnov, for Trump, for Putin, a big takeover, a hostile takeover, so that instead of Tik Tok of Oz, the friendly mechanical man of Oz, the country where there's no money and no war, the real TikTok, instead of the real TikTok, the fairy TikTok, we have Tik Tok of Krasnov. The TikTok has been taken over by the same people who run Facebook and Twitter, and we don't need that. But it reminded me how in on the plan Biden and other Democrats were to ban TikTok in the first place. And if they were in on the plan just to promote Trump, just to promote Krasnov, just like they were in on the plan just to keep the hostages as long as possible, to make himself and Harris look as bad as possible, to hand it over to Trump, working with Netanyahu the same way Reagan worked with the Iranian government to hold on to the hostages. I mean, Reagan's campaign, when he was running against Jimmy Carter, rest in peace, paid Iran to hold on to the hostages for months longer so that Reagan would get credit for it, even though Iran had negotiated the deal for their release with President Jimmy Carter. Same thing, except Biden let them do it. Biden let them both threaten TikTok and keep the genocide in Gaza going as long as possible to make himself and our side look as bad as possible, to hand it over to Trump. And did the whole jumped on board with banning TikTok, even though there was no reason for that other than racism, which is not a reason, but American racism against Chinese people was the only reason for the TikTok ban. And Biden and other Democrats jumped on it, and it turned out just to be a promo for Trump. That's too telling and too much of a metaphor for, or symbol for what's been going on. And it needs to stop. We need somebody to stop these evil people. And let's get TikTok back. I call it the Fairy Liberation Front, the Pillar Revolution. Let's get back to TikTok of Oz instead of TikTok of Krasnov. And for that matter, we can replace all their churches with the Church of Judas. Replace every patriarchy Christianity church in the entire world. And that's what they get for focusing on burning our libraries and oppressing people using bathrooms. We're going to take their churches and make them choose between Antichrist Trump and true Jesus. And if they choose wrongly, we repurpose the church. And if they choose rightly, then we just enhance the church. But we got a lot of churches to repurpose because they would choose wrong. Anyway, thanks TikTok. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody for being on TikTok, because it's really us who make TikTok what's so good about it. And we can make something else so good too, or we can make TikTok good again once we get it back from these evil masters who have programmed it badly.